Hey folks, this is JR with DIY Prepper. Welcome to the channel. Now, several months back, I did a video that was best prepper and survival items at Tractor Supply, and it's been a pretty popular video, and I think part of the reason why is it actually is a good place for preppers to go shop. They have different sizes of bulk water storage containers, and then other things like stuff for your fish, and really, who couldn't use a gigantic metal rooster? I mean, those are just awesome. But I think that there are some stores out there that might actually be even better than Tractor Supply, and one of those is called Atwoods. Now, Atwoods is a regional home and ranch store, and what that means is depending on where you live, you may or may not have one near you, but you might have a similar store nearby. I know folks out west, you have something called Cow Ranch, and then folks in other parts of the country, you have something called Rural King. And in all honesty, just because I've never been there, I don't know what folks in like Europe and Australia have. So if you live somewhere other than the southern United States and you have different stores similar to what I'm about to show you, go ahead and drop those in the comments below, and also maybe say how they're similar, how they're different. But let's go ahead and get started. So the first type of item that Atwoods has that preppers and survivalists may find useful is going to be food. They have a small selection of shelf-stable foods, things like canned goods, raw honey, and then also other things like peanut butter and bottled water. Then they also have other items that aren't food, but they are food related. Things like cast iron cookware, which of course is great because you can use it to cook pretty much anywhere. You can use it to cook in your kitchen, you can use it to cook over an open flame on a campfire. And then they also have canning supplies. Now when I went, they didn't have a whole lot just because that's a seasonal thing, but I'm pretty sure that they do stock more of them like during the spring and early summer. And one thing I was very surprised to see was a freeze drying machine. Every time I've seen one of those, they've either been at like specialist survival stores or you have to order them online. But they did have a Harvest Right freeze drying machine there in the store. They also had a good selection of beekeeping supplies. They had hives and then also smokers. Now, one thing that Tractor Supply does better than them is Tractor Supply seems to have a larger selection of water storage containers, but I was able to find some used water barrels at Atwoods for fairly cheap. I think they were around like $55 or $56. And also during certain times of the year, I think you can go there and find game processing equipment, like if you're a hunter. I didn't see much of it in store when I was there, but I believe I've seen it other times of the year when I have gone there. The next type of item that Atwoods has that preppers may find useful is going to be their clothing. Now, since they're a home and ranch store, their clothing is going to be geared more towards work clothes, meaning it's going to be rugged and durable, which is what you want if you're preparing for a more long-term event. So it's a good place to go pick up things like coats and jackets to get ready for cold weather seasons. They have an excellent selection of work boots. Now, most of the boots that they sell are going to be your more cowboy style boots, but I believe that they do have like lace-up style work boots as well. They also have rain gear like ponchos and rain jackets, along with different types of gloves that would be good whether you're just working or you need them to keep your hands warm. Atwoods also has a good selection of tools and other items that you could use to keep vehicles and other equipment running long term. They have hand tools, they have power tools, and the power tools that they have are from good brands. It's not somewhere where you go to get El Cheapo tools that are going to break down on you. They carry brands like Milwaukee and DeWalt, which are professional grade tools. Now, as far as vehicles go, they have a wide selection of different types of fuel stabilizers that would be good if you're storing gas for your lawnmower, your generator, or to use with a vehicle. They also have a whole lot of different types of oils for things like cars, ATVs, tractors, and then they also have a good selection of high quality gas cans. Now they do have the regular just cheap plastic ones, but they also had like the nice high quality metal cans as well. They also had a good selection of different types of glues and epoxies that you could use to repair different items, along with things like ratchet straps and bungee cords that you could use to secure loads or tie things together. They also have different sizes of tarps, which of course have a wide range of uses. If you're a prepper or into survival, you can use them as shelters and make repairs, or even to cover things maybe you don't want just completely visible. And then also, of course, you can find batteries, which are good for if you have flashlights, lanterns, maybe motion sensors, stuff along those lines. Now, one thing that Atwoods does way better than Tractor Supply is going to be their sporting goods section. If you go to Tractor Supply and you look at their sporting goods, the most that you're probably going to find is going to be like pocket knives and multi-tools, maybe a couple other things, but that's pretty much it. Atwoods, on the other hand, they have a full-fledged, fully stocked sporting goods section, or at least where I live. So they have things like fishing supplies, rods, reels, line, lures, and then also stuff for like if you're a hunter. They have things like game cameras, among other things that hunters could use to hunt that for some reason we're not really supposed to talk about or we get demonetized. But point is, they have things there that you could use for hunting or for other types of activities that preppers and folks in the survival community enjoy. So just use your imagination for that. Atwoods is also a good place for preppers to stock up on different types of household essentials. So they have things like cleaning supplies, they got bleach and sanitation wipes, and then they also have things like 5-gallon buckets, which of course have a ton of different survival uses. You can use them to store stuff in, you can even use them as a makeshift toilet, a clothes washing machine if you got a plunger, all sorts of stuff. They also have a good selection of trash bags, including ones that you could use just in your kitchen, as well as larger, heavier duty contractor style bags, which are good for cleaning up bigger messes or for keeping as a makeshift kind of shelter or poncho or bag liner in your bug out bag. They also have a few different types of shelving, which of course is good for keeping your supplies organized and allows you to store more supplies. They have some nicer looking stuff that you can use out in the main part of your house, along with some more utility style shelves that you can put, say, in your garage or in a storage shed. And also, they have toilet paper, which is an absolute necessity because we all remember how crazy people got last time they couldn't find toilet paper. So, if you're in need of it, maybe you can't find it somewhere else, maybe Atwood still has it. They're also a good place to find different types of land management tools. So if you have large property, maybe you have a homestead, then you can find things like axes, hatchets, rakes, shovels, and then also fencing supplies. They have things like fence posts, they do have barbed wire, and they also have a good selection of electrical fencing supplies if that's a way that you want to secure your property. Atwoods also has a good selection of different types of animal traps for catching different types of critters. They have catch but no kill traps, they have the catch and kill traps. So whatever kind of varmint is messing around with your property, or maybe you just want to catch something to eat, you can find something to deal with that problem. And they also have pesticides. If you are in a long-term emergency situation, pests and insects are going to be a huge concern because during long-term situations, a lot of the time, disease and starvation and stuff like that, that's going to kill more people than violence will. So you want to make sure that you have things that you can use to kill like rats so that they don't make you sick, and then also they don't spoil your food, and the same goes for insects as well. If you have larger equipment like tractors, they do have some replacement parts for those. They also have chainsaws that of course you can use if you're needing to harvest wood or clear out paths or roadways after a storm. Atwoods is also a good place to pick up different types of animal care items, and one of those is going to be medication. They have medications to deal with common illnesses and problems that your animals may face, whether they're like dogs and cats or things like horses and cattle. They also have different types of food, and once again, that's applicable to whether you have cats and dogs or if you have something like horses or chickens. You should be able to find stuff that you can use to keep your critters fed. And then also they have items that you would use more in an agricultural setting. Let's say you're raising chickens. They do have a good selection of things like chicken wire. They even have packages of like just empty cartons that you can use to store the eggs that your chicken lay inside of them. Well, once again, thank you guys for stopping by. If this is similar to a store that you have in your area that isn't Atwoods, go ahead and drop that in the comments. And also, if you haven't seen the other videos in the best places to find prepper and survival item series, go ahead and check those out by clicking on the card. Y'all have a good one. Thanks again.